Radio Hereford FC, the only station with full match commentaries of the Bulls, every game, every week.
Hello and welcome again to Going Down the Pub with me, Frank Williams, and again my special guest, Mr. Simon Wright, ground guide guru extraordinaire.
Boston.
Right. As you can tell, we're still here in Halesowen, and we're going to talk today about the FC United of Manchester pre-season friendly, the first of the three big friendlies leading up to the beginning of Hereford FC's league season. 23rd of July, we visit FC United of Manchester. A return visit from last year, which I think really FC United of Manchester have been quite instrumental in our setup last season. Can you explain that, Simon?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, there's a whole load of reasons why you should want to go to FC United, and I suppose one of them really is to pay respects to club who helped us, in the dark days. It's probably been mainly lost now, but a lot of the systems that we use, particularly around the volunteers, is a system that FC United actually had, and Ken Kennersley, with his repeated visits to FC United, picked up and basically installed them with pride. So I would say we owe them as such, but it's nice to be able to say thanks very much. And if you recall, of course, the opposition for our first home game at Edgar Street as Hereford FC, and they were brilliant visitors. I could not imagine a better side to come, because they understand, their supporters turned up in big numbers, they drank a lot, they were noisy, they were supportive, and they were so thrilled for us. That was really, really good. I remember sending so many of them down to the microbrewery. They were really, really up for it, and a lot of them stayed overnight. And they said, fantastic, really, really pleased you. And we'd never met these guys before, but they were so thrilled for us. And I've got a personal thank you to say, really, because people who know, who go to FC United will notice the programme sellers are very noisy and very extrovert, and I have stolen their lines with pride. One of my favourite lines, free staples with every copy that I use for programme selling and fanzine selling, that came from FC United. And when FC United supporters were down, I used that one over and over again, and they said, know where you got that one from? I said, yep.
Now, our trip to FC United could possibly be the most northerly stage post that we go to this season, Simon.
Very much so, I mean, I suppose I'm being selfish thinking about me as an exile as well, but, every trip is south this season, almost certainly for League and Cup, so it's different. I'm going to get terribly sick of the M5. I really am this season, particularly with roadworks on it. It's going to be different. And it's a great chance, great chance to have a really interesting day out. Hereford's got a direct train line to Manchester. There's not too many places Hereford supporters can get to direct by train without having to change here, there and everywhere. Right into the heart of Manchester.
Well, my daughter lives in Manchester. I'm sure she'll be able to tell me where to.
Yeah, there you go.
Except I'll probably be staying with her that weekend and make a weekend of it as well.
Could be a late addition to the ground guy, couldn't it?
Now, of course, it's an opportunity for us this year to test ourselves against a higher graded side. We don't get too many of those opportunities now.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I think that was one of the very few frustrations last season, that we never really sure how good we were, because we were only playing step 5 sides, many of which were, frankly, it was their Wembley and it was a one-off game for them. And we think we're a decent side, but we're not really sure in terms of moving up the pyramid. So a chance to play an established, tough step 2 side. I mean, they had a wobbly start, but FC United finished safely mid-table in the end.
13th, I think it was.
13th, yeah. Very strong away record, or obviously we're at home for that. But I think that's going to be an intriguing feature. Obviously, when they came to our place, I think honestly that their team was taking it easy. They were not pushing themselves too much. But at home, I think they've got to make an effort in front of their own supporters. So it'll be an interesting one to see how it pans out.
I'm told that the atmosphere generated at FC United games is something quite special, Simon. Now, I know you've experienced this on a number of occasions.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen 5 FC United games over the last few years, and the buzz, the feeling of something's going to happen and it's going to be great that we have around Edgar Street in the last 12 months. FC United have had that for a decade. As soon as you get close to the ground, you pick it up. It feels different, feels exciting, I've not been to Broadhurst Park, and I'm very much looking forward to it, and I've seen them at their previous home games, Curzon and Stalybridge. As soon as you get to the ground, programme sellers are great, the people at Turnstiles are really friendly. You get in and you see this absolute welter of sweet shops and souvenirs just taking over half an acre, it seems, and the massive flags. I've never seen a club with so many flags, and they are so noisy. They've got a tremendous range of songs that, often these new songs, you just don't hear them anywhere else. The one everybody talks about is Dirty Old Town, and their version of Dirty Old Town. It is really moving, There's not many songs that move you at football grounds anymore, but this is one,
There are quite a few that make you move.
Yes. Yeah, if anybody's got the time, and they play the videos back of first game of last season at Edgar Street, and they will pick it up. There is an FC United video version of it, but that's just a couple of hundred people, when you've got 1,000 plus going for it. It is exciting.
We'll see if we can find some of these footages and whatever, and if we do, we will put them up on the Radio Hereford FC Facebook page.
And quite right too.
And we'll probably do that with other bits of info as well. So keep an eye out for that, and of course the official site.
And of course we must mention that this is a £6 million new ground, half of which was self-funded. Now, a non-league club to raise £3 million. It's extraordinary,
Did I read somewhere that the main stand was actually bought from Northwich Victoria's administrators when they went under?
Yeah,
right,
well, technically it's the new club 1874 Northwich who gave permission for it taken away.
Yeah.
Who are also a community-owned club. That's where Peter Beadle's lad played that season. Interesting strike, but that's an aside. It's ground still in progress. Understandably, having to raise £3 million, it's still not enough, but they are getting there. It's an interesting ground. They've got a full-size terrace. Full-size terrace, that's an excitement in itself, isn't it? We don't see many of those. The main stand is a curious mixture of half standing and half sitting, I believe, and the rest is flat standing, which, not quite what people imagine.
I think the capacity is something like 4,500.
Exactly.
620 seats, which is a massive proportion of the capacity. And as you say, the terraces, a lot of them are flat standing.
Yeah.
And I have read in a couple of places that, particularly if they segregate, which they sometimes do, sometimes have to, people at the back of the away end don't get much of a view.
No, they don't. 4,500 capacity is normally more than enough, and they do intend to develop. But Frank, you're taking on this ground guide guru role from me, aren't you?
Well, I did do a little bit of research today.
Well done, that man.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, your ground guide is with the club at the moment and will be posted on the official site in the next week or so, hopefully. Jamie Griffiths, please get onto that.
Jamie's got it. He's had it for a couple of weeks now. I got a bit carried away because I'm so enthused about this. Yeah. It's a 900-word guide rather than usual 500.
Right.
Lots and lots of links built in.
But some very important points we ought to make here. Yeah,
as I said, it's on the ground guide, so don't start scribbling down notes, but there's a few points you need to know, really. Car parking is very limited, okay? The club has a few spaces. You have to pre-book, and it's a £5. Some of the local pubs will do car parking, £3, £4. Quite a walk in the main, but they have an agreement with the local residents that they will not have parking outside people's houses because it upsets people. So that's one point. Car parking is limited. But you might want to think, do I really want to drive this anyway? Because you're talking 140 miles from Hereford. It's a minimum of 3 hours. And if you get caught up in July holiday traffic, yeah.
M6,
Yeah,
M62.
exactly.
Well, I do that quite often to go to my daughter's. It's not. If you do get stuck in that, it really is unpleasant, particularly if you're coming then on the M62 in past Manchester Airport. It can be a bit iffy, so the train seems to be a good option.
The train, or of course Hereford away days, £15 to travel if you're a member. I think that's a very good price.
And £20 if you're not.
Yeah, I mean, if that was a Premier League side, they'd be charging a lot more for that distance. They really would.
But if you do go by train,
if you go by train, I would recommend using the metro rather than the local train. The local train runs out of Manchester Victoria, so you've got to go across the city from Piccadilly to Victoria. There's only one an hour, and it's a 10-minute walk the other end, so pick up the metro. It's just outside Manchester Piccadilly station. It's £3, it's 20 minutes, and it's a novelty. How often you get a chance to get on the metro?
That's £3 return, I think, isn't it?
£3 return, yeah.
And that's to the ground itself?
To the street just outside the ground. Again, the exact details are all in the there's actually a public transport guide within the ground guide that people can pick up and read.
Brilliant.
In terms of beer, which always seems very important to people, heaven knows why, it's a Joe Holt's pub area. It seems like every pub in the area, I think there's one exception, is Joe Holt's. So if you like their beer, fine. If you don't, well, you may have to drink in Manchester Town Centre. Two standouts for me that I'm going to go in one or even both of them myself. There's a bar at the ground. Away supporters are generally welcome. They've got their own real ale called Broadhurst Ale. It's 4%. It's a pale ale, so you might want to give that a go. And it'd be a great chance to sort of, socialise with some great FC United supporters who are a very friendly bunch, it must be said. Or, it's a bit of a novelty, a couple of streets away is the Moston Miners Community Arts and Music Centre. Bit of a mouthful, but basically it was a pithead bath. Used to be a mine in the area. This used to be the baths. Recently converted, it's now sort of a community function. Really nice to hear that FC United volunteers helped with the labouring to make this happen. So it's basically, it's in all sorts of places, it's a music centre, an arts centre, cinema, but what's most interesting to Hereford supporters will be is because there's a cafe there, so you can get a late breakfast. They generally have a live band on, so if you're into that, can't go wrong. And of course they've got a bar, so it's a nice combination. It's very close to the ground, and you'll be helping the local community. So I think that's a really powerful combination.
Right, so does Simon, a day not to be missed, I would think. So early in the season.
Well, yeah, it's July, but I'm really excited. I so want to go to Broadhurst Park. I've been trying to get to Broadhurst Park ever since it opened, but the trouble is, Hereford's just been so watchable. Every Saturday, and Hereford's playing. I want to be there. So Broadhurst Park got pushed back and back and back. So bring it on.
Some interesting information for you guys out there. It could be a bit of history in the making at this match, because, like us, FC United have got their own internet radio station, and presumably they will be covering the match live, as will Radio Hereford FC, and we think this must be a record of a non-league match being covered by two independent internet-based radio stations.
I think it's fascinating. I think it's going to be, who's going to be shouting loudest.
Absolutely. And for those of you who can't make it, Keith Hall and Greg Davis, and hopefully myself, will be there from about 2:15, bringing you all the pre-match build-up to the first of the big three pre-season friendlies on the 23rd of July, and the following Tuesday we'll be at Kidderminster Harriers, and then for the only home pre-season friendly the following Saturday, which is the 30th, we'll be at home to Merthyr, and we hope to hear you at that one, because we will have our phone lines open on that day, and you'll be able to contact us live at Edgar Street. Well, thanks, Simon. It's been a pleasure as usual. Hopefully we can do it again. Soon.
Yes, if you like this audio, please tell us, and we'll do it again.
Thanks very much, Simon, and thank you everybody for listening.
Hurry up, Harry, come on.
This is Radio Hereford FC, the home of the Bulls. Match Day Live.